Hi guys, it's your girl KCEEPAT. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And just like the caption says, I'll be teaching you like simplest cut and sew method of cargo pants pocket. But before I do that, for the beginners on the channel, I'll just quickly show you how to cut a side pocket, right? So I had already started cutting before I remembered that I have some beginners on the channel that might be interested. So by the time you're done cutting your short or your trouser, all you have to do is to measure 3 inches or 3.5 depending on the allowance that you added to the trouser or the shirt. And then lengthwise you measure 7 inches, just like you would see me do in the video, right? And that was what I slashed out. 3.5 inches across depending on whatever sewing allowance you added, and also 7 inches below. Then I slashed that out, and it was what I slashed out that would use to create the pocket space. The length of the pockets you can use as deep as 12 inches, 13 inches, depending on how deep you want it to be. Some people even use 11 inches or 10 inches, but trust me, it's not going to be so deep, right? By the time you measure that, all you have to do is to shape it just like you would see me do in the video. So by the time you're done doing that, the next thing to do is to cut yet another piece, because for each side of the pocket you would have 2 pieces, right? One that you use to sew the side that you had cut out, and one that you used to cover that part that was cut out. If I hope that makes sense, right? So this is exactly what I'm doing at this point. And by the time I'm done cutting this, I'll just take this to the sewing machine and tell you how to go about that. So this is me explaining that you just take it to the sewing machine and sew that part that you have cut out. After sewing that part, the next thing to do is to top stitch, right? Top stitch that part so that it will lap properly. If you don't top stitch, it might not lap properly. So after top stitching, you take the other part of the pocket, and that would be what you would put underneath, right? You put that underneath and also sew that up. When you put that underneath, all you have to do is also sew that up. Go to your sewing machine. This is how it's meant to look, right? So go to your sewing machine and sew up the inside. So after sewing that, this is what you would have. And I believe that for every beginner watching this, you would be able to understand at this point, right? So the next thing I'm just going to do is to bring in 2 sides of this shirt, right? I'm bringing the 2 sides, that's the front piece and one part of the back piece, and I'm just going to join it on the side because we are going to attach our cargo pants pocket on this shirt. Remember, I said 1 piece of the front and 1 piece of the back, right? And this is the black fabric that I'll be using to teach you how to cut the pockets, right? I'm using this black piece and I'm folding it into 2. So I folded it into 2, and depending on whatever length you want to use, there is no particular specification as to the length to use or the width to use, right? So I'm using 5 inches on fold, which will give me 10 when I open it, right? And then the length that I'm using is also 10 inches. This is because I just want to create a design, a center design on this pocket. So if you're not creating probably any form of pleats or center design on this pocket, I think you should skip this part. You can use something the wideness of 7, right? Wideness of 7 or 8 will be fine. But because I'm creating that design, I am just going to use the wideness of 10. So by the time you're done cutting this out, the next thing to do is to measure the all round, right? That's like the width of the width of the pocket, as you will see me do. You just measure all around. It will help you to determine the length that you would be cutting for the strap that will be going round the pocket, if you understand what I mean, right? That strap that you'll be attaching around the pocket, it will help you to determine that. By the time you're done cutting this out, you're going to go to your ironing board, and sorry about the noise in my environment, but I have to do this. I have to post this video today. So you go to your ironing board and iron all the edges down. Sorry, and iron all the edges down. Same thing you also to do to this strap that you're going to add to the sides of the pocket, right? It's the same thing that you will do to it. Now, have you seen how wide my pocket is without me adding the center design, right? That is how wide it is. So if you're not going to add that center design, I don't see a reason your pocket should be this wide, right? So all I'm doing is to explain to you how you are going to join this on your sewing machine. And like you saw me demonstrate, don't start from the very tip, like from the very tip of your pocket. You just give that part that you folded, don't skip that part and start below the part that you folded on the pocket cover or flap, right? So no, not the pocket cover, on the upper part of the pocket. So I've gone ahead to create that design, and I'll also go to my ironing board to iron it flat. Now that I've done that, I'll just tell you what to do. Now I'll bring this and place this at the center. You're going to get the center of the pocket and the center of this shirt, and for me to show you how to sew it, I'm just going to introduce yet another fabric that have two contrast colors so that you will understand how to go about the sewing method, right? So if you just this is black all through, but I've gone ahead to put the strap, and like I said, place it center to center, right? You get the center of the pocket and get the center of the shirt, and then place it properly. Now, some persons actually sew this and then they have all the parts shooting out. That's because they sew it this way I am demonstrating. They don't get the actual part where the pocket stops, right? And then get that point, mark it and sew it that way. So on this this is the other Ankara fabric that I've introduced. You see the way I am sewing it, right? So I'm introducing this one because you would see properly, like, as to what I'm doing. So you just sew this all round, like turn your machine, be flexible about it. You know the points are kind of like cornered points, so just be flexible about it and sew this all round, right? By the time you're done sewing this all around, the next thing to do, like I said, is to get the center point of the pocket and also the center point of your Ankara. By the time you determine the center point, what I would want you to do is to mark the edges. Like, for instance, get the measurement of where you want the pocket to sit. Like, for myself, in most cases, especially if I'm putting just one cargo pocket for each side of my dress, I would measure probably without my waistband. I could mark 16 inches, right, without my waistband. But if my waistband is inclusive, that means I'll be marking I'll mark 16 inches, like that's with my waistband inclusive. But without my waistband, I'll mark 14 inches. That's if I'm going to include the waistband later. So whatever, I can't tell you what to mark or where you want to place your cargo pants. Is clearly your choice. So what I'm saying, at this point, I had marked where I wanted mine to sit. And having marked that, I'm trying to determine the center of this dress and I'm pinning it down. The next thing I want you to do right now is to also mark where the exact pocket stopped. That place where the exact pocket stopped is where you're actually going to sew the extension that you made, right? If you sew directly where the extension is, it's not like people don't do it, but it's not like the most professional way, right? It will make your pocket look very, very funny, right? It will make it look saggy. So for it to balance properly and for you to have a proper look when you iron it, you just have to mark where the actual pocket stops, and then that is where you would sew the extension that you made on this pocket. I hope my explanation really makes sense, right? Let me use this opportunity to say that if this video has been helpful to you in any little way, please do well to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to encourage me to keep posting videos like this. Sometimes I feel discouraged, especially when some persons actually watch and don't subscribe, but regardless, we move. Okay, back to the video. So I'm rounding up here. This is just me trying to turn all the edges and sewing it down properly, right? Okay, by the time you're done doing this, the next thing I would do, if you are attaching a pocket cover, is to measure the pocket, right? Measure the pocket, and please, after attaching this, just go to the tip of the pocket and tack it down. That will help to hold the pocket in place. The tip of the pocket, that's the upper part of that pocket, just hold it down and tack it down. So that if you are going to add a pocket cover, all you have to do at this point is to measure your pocket and then cut out the cover, like whatever measurement that you're using for the cover, you cut it out and add your sewing allowance. Let's say you measured 8 inches, right? You'd cut that out on a paper and add whatever sewing allowance you would use to join it, because you'll be cutting 2 parts of the pocket, right? You'll be cutting 2 parts of the pocket. So do well to include your sewing allowance to it. And then for the pocket cover, you can shape it any way you like or you want. In most cases, lots of the times when I'm making mine, I usually give it this kind of shape, as you see me do, right? And all I'm trying to emphasize is that you cut 2 pieces of this and then go over to your sewing machine and sew it all around and give a little space for your turnout, right? And after doing that, you place that over your pocket and sew it down. I'll use pins to hold it so that you understand. Sorry about this pocket that I'm showing you. It's not been ironed, it's looking flappy and all of that. I've not taken it to the ironing board, so it's not sitting right. So this is just what it's going to look like. That's what I'm trying to explain. You fold this over, and yeah, this is what you would have at the end of the day. I hope this video really helps. Do well to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.